Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's vlog post. I spoke last week about, some of the strategies that people were using to work with their referral partners, things that they're using right now that are working for them to generate opportunities and to keep the process rolling of generating new contacts, new referral partners, and getting out there and having sources of engagement that present themselves with any variety of new possibilities. So some of you have emailed in and asked for, things, what are they doing, how they going? A lot of you have been inside the website and sometimes all the content in the website can be a bit overwhelming. So I get that. So I just wanted to narrow a few things down. I think I'm going to do that for the month of August so that we can get through the summer days and into the fall and establish a full head of steam, right through business planning in the fourth quarter, the holidays, and getting set up for what I expect to be a really, really interesting and productive and profitable for many, 2024. So I think we talk about this, and one of the first things that comes up normally is people talking to me about the realtor relationship, and you'll realize that a significant portion of the content on the website is a series of strategies that I worked with Terry Murphy, who is the editor of Realty Times magazine. She was a very successful realtor. She listed and sold 100 houses a year for more than 20 years, and still remains a force in real estate training and coaching, and to me, an invaluable partner and insight in those modules. And so they're all there. And what I decided to do was just pick a few things off in different areas of the referral triangle as we go through August to set you up for the things that you can be doing right now that'll generate opportunities. And I think one of the things that loan officers do to themselves is they put themselves in a subservient position. They put themselves in a position to be out there where they allow the realtor to control the relationship and assume the position of power because you're doing nothing more than begging for opportunities. And many loan officers, that's really where they belong because they don't bring any specific value. They don't approach the relationship as a partnership. They are really just begging for opportunities. But for those who want to establish a relationship, for those who want to have true partners in the real estate community, the process begins by asking the right questions to see if you guys are even a fit to work together. And you'll see by the things that we talk about today where this leads to. And I think the significance is not calling and asking, if you can have coffee or any of this other stuff. The reality is we come in front of realtors and, they're a part of our lives. If you're going to be in purchase mortgages, realtors are likely going to be part of the equation most of the time. And when you get in front of those realtors, what loan officers often fail to do is that they fail to ask the appropriate questions. They fail to establish a framework for what the relationship might look like. They fail to ask for what they really want. But if you're not asking the right questions, then you're not going to go down the path that helps you quickly disseminate whether this is somebody that is even remotely interested in the value you bring to the table, or somebody that you're interested in committing your time and energy to work with. So I come down to, what I tell my clients is the three big questions that you ask for realtors, when you get to meet them and engage in a conversation that can be beneficial to the sorting process, which is, I'll give you the three questions today, and I want you to think about it. And the first question is, are you more focused on generating your next listing or your next qualified borrower? Again, what is that realtor looking for? A lot of people will say, well, we're looking for leads, or they don't care, or whatever. Well, you got to care, because if you're not focused on what you want, it likely isn't going to fall from the sky, at least not now. So you've got to start out. What's the framework? Are they more focused on generating that next listing opportunity? Are they more focused on generating that next buy side opportunity? Some people commit equally to both sides of that equation, and some people are lean one way or the other, predominantly in their business approach. But it's important that you know. The second question that you're going to ask them once you've found out the first is, what activities associated with generating that listing or that qualified buyer? What activities associated with what you're doing, and what are they, and when do you do them? What are the things that you do to prospect? What do you think? What are you doing to generate those opportunities? And and when are you doing it? Do you do stuff every day? Do you do stuff the same time every day? Do you do stuff, different things toward those? Again, the conversation is wide, but you really need to know, does this person, have a plan? Do they have a process? Are they getting up, focused on doing something, or are they just getting up and seeing where the day takes them? And the last question is probably the thing that ties it all together. It's what brings you and your strategies and the value that you can bring to the table. And you sit there and find out whether or not this person is even remotely interested. And that question is, would you be willing to spend 2 hours, 1 day a week for the next month working with me to generate that next listing or that next borrower? It's a very simple question. Either they are or they aren't. They would see if you're willing to commit 2 hours of your time, if they're willing to commit 2 hours of their time for a 1 month period of time, to see if the strategies that you have can get out there and generate that listing opportunity or that buyer. Because this changes the conversation completely. You're going to generate a wealth of information that's going to help you determine whether this person is the type of person that you want to work with. Now, they may not have a preference. They may not even have a plan. But that doesn't rule out the fact that they wouldn't be interested in making a commitment, okay, or having a plan. The key thing here is getting it out on the table to find out what you're working with. Are we supplying a plan, or would they be interested in a plan? Is there something that they're doing in their plan that my strategies will help them with? And it changes the dynamic from you just going in there asking for referrals to establishing a relationship where the two of you are working together to generate opportunities. Now, again, there are multiple strategies inside the website that you can look at, that you can share with them, that you can review, that you can commit to. Some people are willing to do some things, other people are not. But the reality of it is, there's enough information, there are enough strategies where you can go out there and engage and make things happen. But the key piece here is if they're not willing to commit 2 hours, 1 day a week for the next month to generate a listing or to generate a buyer, then you have to ask yourself, is this the relationship? If what they're doing, is what they're doing giving them all the business that they ever wanted? Because if not, why wouldn't they commit to 2 hours, 1 day a week for the next month to even see if it's possible? I mean, think about what would your market, you understand what's happening. What's the value of a listing to that agent? What's the value of a buyer transaction? If you weigh it out, they're going to commit 8 to 10 hours worth of time to generate that commission. And if you break it out, what else would they be doing with their time that on a per hour basis could possibly generate that type of outcome? And the reality of it is maybe it doesn't work. Maybe the things you put forward don't generate that opportunity. Maybe it doesn't. But what did they have to lose other than an investment of 2 hours, 1 day a week of some time? Again, you get 100% of what you don't ask for. But to go out there and get specific with people and get in front of them with potentially committing to schedules and strategies to actually try to make a difference, to me, is extremely important. So keep that in mind as you're going forward, is the fact that that's why the website is there. That's why those tools are there. If you don't want to try to explain it, you can just open up the website for them and click on the links and let the videos that are part of that website have either me or Terry explain the strategy, the system, and what needs to be done. Because all you really need to do is for you yourself to commit to the possibility of working with that person to generate opportunities. So keep that in mind as we move forward. There'll be more to come in this series next week. Today, we're going to have unemployment numbers. Tomorrow, we're going to have the jobs report. It's going to be very interesting to see how far apart ADP numbers are from what the jobs report shares with us. For a while, people complained that ADP's numbers were very conservative and came in below what they thought was the reality. So those numbers were traditionally or consistently below what the Labor Department numbers came out with. Recently, ADP's numbers have been significantly higher than what the jobs numbers have looked like and what the data has come forward. And it's hard to understand whether when people change their algorithms, how they reweight what they're going to count what information. Clearly, the markets are convinced that the ADP numbers are now over generating jobs and what is happening, whether that's because of how they're calculating things or what their seasonal adjustments may be. But if you look at the hard numbers, it's impossible to believe that the things that they are sharing and saying are taking place are actually taking place, given the, what the people in the industry are actually saying, just, what the hiring actually is, what the velocity of jobs and employment really are. So there is some discrepancy, and I'm sure there's going to be some fine tuning, but you have to be aware that these things are going to happen today and tomorrow, and it may cause some volatility in the bond market. And so just pay attention that these things are out there, that they're going to happen, they're going to take place. There may be initial reaction to these numbers, and then there may be a rebound in one direction or the other. We saw that yesterday. The market got really, really down, and managed to claw its way back, to not all that bad of a day. We may see that again this morning and today. We may see that again tomorrow. On both sides of the coin, it could react wildly one way or the other, but you need to be aware of what's going on, because you can't possibly be blindsided. That's not what you do as a professional. As always, if you've got questions or comments, it's Mike, imtcoaching.com. We'll talk to you again next week. Take care.